Hi, hello ladies and gentlemen. So today we're going to talk about decimals again, and we're going to talk about dividing decimals. And some of you have learned this before, some of you have not. So it's going to be new for some and not for others. Okay, so let's say, for instance, that we are doing 4.61 divided by 0.2. Oh, that's kind of off the screen. Let me readjust that there, guys. There you go. So let's say that that's the division problem that we're doing here. Now, when you set this up for division, you guys have learned how to do long division before. And when you set it up, you put the number at the end will go on the outside, and the number at the beginning goes on the inside. Because 0.2 is the number that we're dividing into 4.61. Okay, now when you do this, you don't divide by a decimal. You just don't do it. What you do is you make the number on the outside a whole number. And here's how you do that. You take this lovely little decimal right here and you move it. And now it's a 2. Really, guys, that's all you do. So you take this and you make it into a, whoa, that's weird and funny. You make it into a 2, okay? But there's one thing that you have to make sure that you remember. When you move that decimal, if you do it on the outside, you also have to do it on the inside. And you do it the same number of times. So we moved it once on the outside, so we have to move it once on the inside. So now we really have 2 that's going into 46.1. 46.1. Alright, now let's do the division. 2 goes into 4 2 times. 2 times 4 is 4. Subtract. You get a 0. Bring it down. Okay? 2 goes into 6 3 times. 2 times 3 is 6. Subtract. Get a 0. Bring that 1 down. Okay, now before we go on, I'm going to move this up a little bit here, guys. This decimal needs to come up in exactly the same place as it is down here. 2 goes into 1, not at all, so you're going to put a 0. 2 times 0 is 0. Subtract, you get a 1. Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations, you have moved on to 6th grade, and guess what? We no longer use remainders. No more remainders. If you write remainders, you will get the problem wrong. Because, guys, we're moving on to higher level math. You need more accuracy, and remainders don't give you a lot of accuracy. It's not really what you need to know. So what you do is you add a 0 to the end of your number. 46.1 is the same thing as 46.10. Now bring that 0 all the way down. 2 goes into 10 5 times. 2 times 5 is 10. You subtract and you end up with 0. So your final answer over here is 23.05. Okay. One more example, ladies and gentlemen. Let me clean my board off here. One more example is going to be 140 divided by 1.2. And I'm writing it like that, guys, because that's how it's written on your whisk. So let's go ahead and set up what we need to have set up. Heard this called a little division house before, but you know, whatever you want to call it. The 1.2 goes on the outside. The 140 goes on the inside because we're dividing 1.2 into 140. Okay, now we're going to move that decimal. We're going to move it once on the outside from here to here, and this becomes a 12. Now there's not a decimal over here on that 140. So what you do is you're going to put a 0.0 at the end of it. Okay, and you're going to move that decimal from here to here. Okay, so now we are dividing 12 into 1,400. Alright, here we go. 12 does not go into 1. So I like to put a 0 there just so we don't forget how to line things up. That's really important with decimals. So 12 does not go into 1 at all. 12 goes into 14, however, one time. 12 times 1 is 12, subtract 2, bring down that 0. 12 goes into 20 one time, multiply, subtract 8, bring down that 0. Okay, I'm going to move this up a little bit here, guys. Alright, now 12 goes into 80. Now you might have to stop and think about that one a little bit. 12 times 5 is 60, that's not enough. 12 times 7 is 84, that's too much, so it's 6. 12 times 6 is 72, subtract, and you end up with 8 again. Okay, now we're not doing remainders, so you got your decimal here, put a 0 at the end, bring down that 0. We got that 80 again. Bring your decimal up. 12 goes into 80 6 times, 72, subtract 8. Okay, so do you see the pattern that's happening here, guys? Let me zoom out for you a bit. That was zooming in. Let's zoom out. Ta-da! There we go. So, do you see the pattern that's happening here? Every single time we're going to end up with 8. It's going to keep coming up 8, 8, 8, 8. So, instead of going and going and going and going and going, which would be a bit of a waste of time, this is actually a repeating decimal. So your answer here is 116.6 repeating. That little line means repeating. The other division problem we did, we kept going until we got a 0 at the end. But this one, you would never stop, and your paper would be like huge and long and, you know, terrifying. So what you guys need to do is you need to complete the practice problems at the bottom. If you don't get this, please rewatch the video. Do it a couple times. It's not an easy skill. We will be practicing this in class. Alright, thank you very much, guys.